All right, race fans, we are back. And first thing, Bert says, that's a funny looking truck. I'm not in the truck. Shout out Perfect Performance. I'm actually up in Buell, Minnesota right now, over at a buddy's shop up here, just sitting in his office doing the show. So, episode number 300, guys, another milestone here for the One to Go show. None of us have ended up in jail or shot, so that is good. Super excited about that, but it's been a hell of a journey, and we'll see if maybe we got 300 more in us.
We should have got Puka here for the 300th episode.
We should have, but he's a hockey guy. I'm like, what in the world? I actually, the last podcast I did with him was Tea with Miss McGill, his hockey a podcast that he had. He actually had me jump on that with him a couple weeks ago. We ended up talking just as much racing as we did hockey, because I know a hell of a lot more about racing than I do with hockey. So that worked out good. I don't. Changa probably he listens to all the hockey podcasts. Probably doesn't listen to Puka, which I don't know he's gonna have to
I
probably get
have
on that.
listened to Puka.
All right, all right, he has. So episode 300, guys, brought to you by Impact Health Sharing. So if you pay for your own health insurance, whether you're a family, single, if you're a couple, small business owner, maybe have some employees, but if you pay for your own health insurance and you're wondering, how can I pay less? How can I maybe go to a specific network of doctors that I want to go to rather than one I'm forced to go to? Well, I have a great product. It's called Impact Health Sharing, and it's saving people a ton of money throughout the country. It's been absolutely awesome I think it's been about 4 years that I've been actually referring this to people. It's been really good. Hit me up, 218-969-1380, or you can message me on Facebook, call me. I don't care. However you got to get a hold of me, I can get you a quick, no obligation quote and all the information that you need to learn about Impact Health Sharing. So, a lot of stuff happened this week, and we're going to get to probably the most meaningful part of the show. We're going to tie that in with another segment. Of course, we all heard two National Dirt Late Model Hall of Famers passed this past week, Bert. Two of them, right? One we are near and dear to me, right? A guy that I grew up watching, one of my childhood heroes, Jeff Hinkemeyer. Going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. Also, Larry Moore. I don't know if you saw that, Bert. Larry Moore passed as well. So we'll touch on that. For people wondering, that is, near and dear. That is definitely near and dear. But let's start with let's go a little drama first, right? Everybody likes a little drama. So I know it's about a week old. A lot of people have talked about it online. We have not had an opportunity to talk about this yet. So at Port Royal here last week or the week before, I think it was end of last week, after we did the pod, there was an announcement that one of the drivers, I think it was in the IMCA Race Saver Sprints, I believe is what it was. I think that's what it was. Sprint cars, nonetheless, ended up having a little bit of an altercation, wins the race, had 20 minutes to cool down, right? Because they actually had a cool down time, and then he went into victory lane, and they interviewed him, and let's just say multiple F bombs. They banged on the track a little bit for not very good track conditions, in his opinion, and unprecedented, I would say, a 1 year suspension for his verbiage that he had in victory lane. I have some thoughts on this, but let's start with you guys. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, I would be okay with a punishment. Maybe suspend him for a week, but 12 months is to me way over punishing what he did. So that's just my opinion.
If you had to levy a punishment. So for those of you that maybe haven't watched or haven't heard about this or read up on it, he dropped the F bomb 3 separate times, and it wasn't in anger because he won the race, but I think he maybe got a little grief. The 20-minute cooldown, maybe he had a couple people barking at him or whatever in the pits. So he come in and he kind of was on the defensive, but dropped the F bomb 3 times and basically said the track sucked. So
but if I remember correctly, he also said normally they prepare a great track here, but tonight it what it yeah it sucked, blah blah blah. And so he did give them a little bit of credit, for in general. But like I said, I mean, I'm okay with a punishment. If you want to suspend them for a week, you know. But to me, anything over a week is is too much, and a year is over excessive.
Correct. Changa, your thoughts on this? If you had to give a penalty, what would you give, and what was your take on this deal?
You know, I guess my take on it is I don't even know if he'd have got anything if it was just for the F words. I think, and they probably maybe slap him on the hand, give him a warning, something. But I think more and more today in the day of social media and everything, everybody's very, very sensitive in the grand. Racing's dying, right? And anything that you say derogatory towards a track, towards a sanctioning body is just like in pro sports or anything else. It's conduct detrimental to the sport or to the arena, to the facility. And, every year we go, there's less and less tolerance for that. What would I have done? I probably would have called him into the barn and we'd have wrestled. We probably had a couple of frosty cold ones afterwards. I would have says, "All right, we're keeping your check. See you next week."
Well, let's face it. We live in a world right now, social media driven, a lot of streaming, and a lot of the big events have a pit reporter, trackside reporter, and something happens, and they are ultra quick to put a mic in somebody's face looking for exactly what happened here. They're looking for drama, looking for a mic drop. Can you imagine the dome without any kind of mic drops at all? Can you imagine that? I mean, that kind of builds the atmosphere. So I think you're right. I think maybe some feelings were hurt, right? When he was critical of the track prep, right? And there's a line. I get it, right? There's a line, right? I talked to some promoters about this, and they're like, "Well, we can't have drivers just constantly criticizing our employees and our volunteers and our track people." But at the same time, sometimes, and I'm not. I mean, Port Royal's had a lot of big races there, right? I mean, big half mile's not my cup of tea, but I mean, there's been really good racing there in the past, so I'm assuming that it's usually good. But the fact of the matter is, oh, we live in, like you said, we live in such a world where people just they get their feelings hurt over the littlest thing, and it's you can flat out garbage somebody. We've talked about this so many times. If I'm running side by side with you, I can turn right, I can stuff you into the fence and keep going. Yellow's going to come out, red might come out, whatever. I'm going to get my spot back because I didn't stop on the racetrack. But if you hurt somebody's feelings, they're going to give you a year suspension. I I
Well,
hope that other promoters don't think this is a good idea.
if NASCAR would have had this in place when Tony Stewart was racing, he would have been suspended for years because
Right?
he was constantly ripping on Goodyear and different decisions that NASCAR made. So yeah, he would have been suspended for years.
Well, me and Tom Nesbitt have had this conversation multiple times over the years. We're both still are critical of things, right? That's just our makeup. It's in our DNA. And if there was social media and streaming and all that when I was racing, Tom Nesbitt was racing and all that, it's like, holy cow, people would have lost their minds, right? Eddie Wakefield would kind of go off the rails, right? So again, totally different world. Everybody's got their it's a sensitive button gone, and that's just the world we live in right now.
you know
So
there's a lot of truth to that, and it's everywhere, right? But okay, so I don't want to make a we got to have this no fault caution rule because heaven forbid if Joe Blow over here has to make a call and someone don't like it and they hurt his feelings, he's going to quit anyways. And now we're worried about track workers quitting because their feelings are getting hurt when we tell them the track sucks. It's like that and everything. And it's just, my God, you can't find referees for youth hockey games because the kids are disrespectful, the coaches are disrespectful, the parents are disrespectful, and these 18, 19-year-old kids, they're getting paid 45, 49 bucks an hour to ref a freaking hockey game, and they won't do it because they're tired of getting their feelings hurt.
think 1980 Olympics, right? We all watched the movie Miracle. You got Herb Brooks just on these guys' asses, right? And again, after the game, doing the liners, right? Imagine doing that in today's world. That guy'd be fired. He'd be blackballed from the sport.
Yep.
And you're coaching now. You're coaching your kid, in a summer, a off season league in hockey. If you have a kid out on the ice that's not hustling, they're not doing their part, they're not listening. If you got on their case, the parents would all band against you. You'd be kicked out
Yep.
of the. It's just, I don't know. I think I don't know how to say it without saying it, but everybody just needs to quit being a bunch of pussies. Just is what it is.
I
I
believe the politically correct way is saying we have gotten soft.
Yeah, very much so. I've gotten soft in a lot of different ways, but I still like to share my opinion. So not so soft in that way. Yeah, yeah, Pillsbury. Yes, for sure. Michelin man. Yes. All right. So on to the next bit of drama here. The Moweaqua missile, Shannon Babb. A deal came out here, I believe it was yesterday, that he has been fined and going to get probation for a failed tire test. Okay. Well, a couple things to unpack here. According, basically he had a discussion, admitted that we cleaned the tire and they wiped it off because I know there's certain cleaners out there that if you wipe it off, it's staying in there, but if you rinse it off, it washes off that residue. I know he was trying to do it because Daytona 1, they actually have a specific cleaner. They have treatments, but they have a cleaner, and that cleaner pulls the release agent out of the tires. Okay, so everybody that when you get your brand new tires from Hoosier, they're glossy black. Okay, it's not glossy black because that's the color of the rubber. They're glossy black because there's a shine, and when you make something in a mold, they got to put like a waxy substance in there so the tire can actually come out of the mold, right? So they have a release agent in there that they're trying to get out of the rubber. That's not part of the composition of the tire. It doesn't belong in there. That stuff is only in the tire to get the tire out of the mold when you're making the tire, right? So they're trying to wash that off, okay, is what they're trying to do. Well, long story short, he didn't rinse all that off there, and it flagged, right, as something that wasn't supposed to be in the tire. Bam, he gets penalized. What's interesting to me though is no suspension. Okay. And I'm not saying that he should. Well, I'm asking you guys your thoughts, but he got probation. Equal? I don't know. Is it because Shannon Babb's always been one of the good guys, that they're not gonna they're just gonna slap him on the wrist? Because I can tell you right now, I promise you that yes, we know there's people out there cheating tires, doping tires. It's a thing. We're not naive. We understand that, right? But we also know that I guarantee you that there have been people disqualified for cleaning their tires and suspended for cleaning their tires because they didn't go that far into what actually happened and why the tire was illegal. A, should this have been a thing? And B, your thoughts on the penalty?
Well, I was surprised um, that he only got probation because I mean, normally when you fail a tire test, it doesn't matter. You get suspended. I mean, Bloomquist got suspended. Jason Feger when the Illini 1 year, he got suspended when his. But the thing is, those drivers always denied that they did anything wrong. So I don't know if Babb just got probation because he admitted supposedly what happened. So they were lenient on him compared to other cases that I don't know. I mean, only they know that because they issued the punishment. But I was surprised to hear that he did not get suspended.
You might be onto something there. I mean, we all know people in law enforcement, and quite frankly, in law enforcement, when the cop says, "Do you know why I'm pulling you over?" And if you're like, "I have no idea, I didn't do anything wrong," they're going to be like, "All right, really?" But if you come back and say, "Yep, I was speeding," there's a pretty large amount of the time where they're like, "Yeah, you got to watch your speed. We're going to let you go this time." And maybe that was the thing. Maybe the fact that he admitted, "Hey, I was cleaning the tire and I guess I should have washed it off there, but I didn't. Maybe that was it. Changa, your thoughts?
You know, the only precedent in the World Outlaws was the last one down in Speed Weeks with Bronson and Pearson Moran here 2 years ago, and their punishment was much more stiff. And you know, Pierce, protested his deal and they lessered his punishment. But it was, what they should do now is, if this is the thing, they should probably go back, give Pierce that championship they stole from him, if this is the rule.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, right? Because and there's a lot of speculation and rumors about, certain drivers, maybe that wasn't their first time, so on and so forth, right? But the fact of the matter is, all we want to see is consistency across the board. Okay. So now if somebody in 2026, if they get caught and their tire doesn't meet the benchmark, are they going to get a year suspension? Are they going to get months off? Or what are they going to get? Or are they going to look
You set
back
a
and say,
precedent now, right?
correct,
Next
correct.
guy, and it don't even matter. The next guy, he could be totally cheating him up, and it don't matter if he admits guilt. Hey, this is the precedent. How can it be different for me than it was for this guy? Both tires are illegal.
Well, the thing is, if somebody gets busted in the future, they don't even have to admit that they were cheating up the tires. They can just say that they used a degreaser and they didn't wash it off.
Well,
And you know what I
well,
mean?
well, yes and no.
Well, you
They
should learn
did.
from this, right?
Well, yes and no, because they actually, so Blue Ridge Labs has, they have all those chemical makeups, right?
Oh, you're
So
right. Yeah. I
yeah,
see where you're going with this.
yep. So when he came back and said, "This is what I used and this is what I did," all they had to do was call Blue Ridge Labs and say, "Okay,
Yeah.
this is what they found. Does this look right?" And they said, "Yeah, that is
Yeah.
consistent." So I don't know if they can. They can try. They can try to pull a
Yeah.
fast one, but
Well, what's it
I
matter? Cheating's cheating, right? If it ain't allowed to be in there,
it's a stupid ass rule. It's got to
hey,
go.
but exactly.
It's got
Do
to go.
whatever the hell you want to your tires. They ain't
Yeah,
gonna
most
last
of them
more than
run
the
the
race
tires. What
anyways. You might as well, if
that
if it does you good to soften them, great, soften them. Gives a shit. They're
Well,
throwing them to the race anyway.
well, and that's the funny thing is tire softening is allowed in most go-kart racing. So
Mm-hmm.
you have these kids learning to soften their tires, then they get up into cars and then they can't soften their tires.
that's changing a little bit though. Some of them
Okay.
are getting away from that now. So, and I think they should. I mean, them chemicals in these little kids with, it's like, oh my gosh. But I mean, they're also sniffing brake clean by the can on a daily basis. So
Good
I
stuff.
guess it is what it is. Right. We had a lot of that in the garage. All right. So how about a shout out here? Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating up in Ashland, Wisconsin, home of the Galloper chassis, and of course the #1 sponsor of the best series in Wissota racing, the Northland Superstock Series. Fastlane does it all, right? They build cars. They do any kind of fabricating, not just racing. They do lots of fabricating there, custom powder coating, sandblasting. They have a lot of parts on stock. They service a lot of racetracks and they help a lot of people in this sport. So shout out to those at Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating. And a shameless plug, I'm going to shout out Friday, July 10th. Tardy Memorial, Hibbing Speedway up in Hibbing, Minnesota, night one of the Fastlane Superstock Series. So we've been saying this. Superstock drivers, get this on your calendar, okay? 67 to win. 1,067 still for 10th place. Lots of contingency awards, like the ShamWall commercial, though, and there's more. But wait, there's more, right? So if you're in a modified, if you're in a Midwest mod, a Hornet, a Crown Vic, we're also going to have bonus bucks in those classes as well. Stay tuned for the official update on what that's going to entail, but there's going to be a lot more money on the line for not just the super stocks, but for the other ones. And for those that want to contribute to the race, you can hit me up on Messenger or check out on the Tardy page how to do that, the Tardy Memorial page. But for everybody that actually puts money into it, they're going to get put into the drawing that night, and one lucky fan is going to walk out of there with the same 67 as the winner of the Superstock feature. Super cool stuff, and a big thanks to everybody helping out with this race. All right, so let's go to Chonga's favorite topic here. Let's go to some pavement racing. Okay, that's Chonga's favorite. He's an asphalt guy, 100%
I
through
didn't
and
even know
through.
they did that anymore.
Well, a couple cool things here, Bert. Did you see anything, Bert, here on ARCA or Xfinity from this past week at Talladega?
No, I just heard a few different things, but no, I really haven't heard anything.
All right, number one, ARCA race. Okay, a number 71 one. That's obviously notable. Okay, a number 71, Andy I think it's Jankovic, I think is the name. The thing that really stuck out though is, do you know who got second place in that race, Bert?
I
I
believe
do.
it. I believe it was Cletus McFarland.
Cletus McFarland,
And
Garrett Mitchell.
just let me say something. I had heard of Cletus McFarland's name before, but I had no idea on his background. And even before I saw the agenda where you put this on there, um, a few well before the weekend, I searched YouTube for him, and I didn't know that he had like no racing experience, and he was a reality TV show person, and so yeah, I got educated.
Massive, massive following. He's a humanitarian. He's done a lot for, there's big floods down there in the southeast. He helped there actually with Greg Biffle, by the way. Um, but it's just good for racing. You get this guy, and the following he has is drawing in a whole different group of people. And I know people. I literally know a lot of dirt people that have been posting on Facebook going, I haven't watched a ARCA race or anything on asphalt for a long time. However, I wanted to see how this Cletus McFarland cat did, and so it's bringing eyes to the sport. Okay, another thing happened, Bert, that's bringing eyes to the sport. So in the Xfinity series, did you see who won that?
I did not.
I would say one of the top 410 sprint car drivers in the world, Corey
Oh
Day.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Corey Day scores his first win in the Xfinity series. Do you know who his pit guy was, Bert?
No.
A fellow podcaster, one of the hosts of the New Heights podcast, center and proprietor of the Tush Push, Jason Kelsey.
Hmm.
Yep, Jason Kelsey. Now, you want to talk about a
We,
following on
we
social media?
I was just saying we have more views than his podcast, right?
Yeah.
How about new?
Well,
How
maybe
about
we need to get
new?
him on our podcast and talk some racing.
Well, we got to get Travis on, because if you have Tay Tay's boyfriend on, then all of a sudden you're gonna have more people.
We get them
But
both. And
we get
Tay.
we probably could. I mean, obviously he likes racing, but
Man Bun
Jason,
Dan would love to watch, and same with Youper. They would love the one when Tay Tay's on.
right? So the moral of the story here is the cross promoting, right? You get Cletus McFarland, straight up a YouTuber. He's done a lot of different stuff in motorsports across the board, right? And then you get Jason Kelsey, got his own podcast. Of course, he's on, I think Monday Night Football. I think he's on that, right, with ESPN or whatever. And then, so you have this stuff happening now. What they
Yeah, the
have to
halftime
do,
show, pregame.
yep. I'd like to see more. I'd like to see this out in the public. Now, I do watch the New Heights podcast, so I'm going to be interested to see if they talk about this. What I regret is I don't remember seeing them talk about that he was going to be pitting for Corey Day prior to the race, right? Now, he may have. I might have missed it. Probably did, okay? But boy, you'd sure think that if that he was going to be pitting for Corey Day at a race, why not pump that up and try to get more eyes on it, right? And just do that cross promoting. That's something the sport needs, So I thought that was pretty notable and pretty cool to see. Any thoughts on that, guys, before we jump on?
No, I was just I don't know if you're going to talk about this next, but we also had a dirt connection in the in the upper NASCAR division the next day.
Oh, fill us in, because I don't know if I saw that.
Well, did you see who won the NASCAR race?
I did, but fill us in.
Carson Hocevar.
And he did
And
the Dale Earnhardt out the side of the car.
yep, yep. So he's dabbled in dirt late model racing, so that was good to see. I actually watched the end of that race, and it was a good race. He earned that victory.
He gets up on the wheel too. He's not afraid to get after it and throw some haymakers. So, wasn't he at Gateway Dirt Nationals? I think that's where he was, right?
Yeah. A
Yep.
couple years ago, him and Feger got into it. Remember on the
Oh,
first lap
that's
of their heat
right.
race?
I do remember that. I do remember that. So, all right, let's jump on to some local racing here. So, before we do, a shout out to our friend Brad Parson, Brad Parson's Soil and Egg Solution. So, planting season is here. I know people are getting crops in the ground, maybe not everywhere yet, but they're getting them in there. I sure hope you called Brad. Why? Because you can't control the crop prices, you can't control the weather, right? There's certain things you cannot control. However, you can control what you're using to help better your odds of getting higher yields. And that's what Brad Parson helps people do. Give them a call, 320-219-3542, to learn about all the great products they have at Brad Parson's Soil and Egg Solution. So, Changa, Cedar Lake Speedway, Rice Lake. Them are the two that opened up locally here for us. Mississippi Thunder got some racing in as well, but Cedar Lake and Rice Lake. What stuck out to you? I have a few things in mind that stuck out to me. Did you get a chance to watch anything from either one of those?
I watched bits and pieces from Rice Lake. Of course, I was coaching hockey both evenings this last weekend, so I didn't get to see a lot live. But I watched back the modified feature from Rice Lake, and that was a dandy with old Blake and oh God, remind me who was up there. I'm drawing a blank.
Mike Anderson.
Yes, Mike Anderson and then the young lady. They were battling hard for the win there, and
She was
what
fast.
she
Kennedy got
was
third.
he was in. There was a restart at one point in time where she was in second, and I think the restart kind of messed her up there, made her pick the wrong lane there. But yeah, they were all there. That was a good race, and any one of them probably could have won it if they could have just switched locations on the track, right? But Blake did what he
Well,
had to do. He's 2 for 2, and going back to early season down in Arizona where he run really good there, boy, he looks like he's primed to make another run at a championship for sure.
well, he texted me, said, "We got some work to do. We're not fast enough." And I said, "Well, you're 2 for 2, so it ain't bad." Unfortunately, he had to cherry pick and move down a class to get them wins because can't quite find victory lane as easy in that B mod as he can the A mod. So some people say the A mod's higher. I just think it's a step down. The B mod class more competitive, 700-800 cars, just is what it is. All joking aside, like you said, 2 for 2 in the A mod, one non-sanctioned, of course, at Cedar Lake. One was Wasota at Rice Lake. In the B mod, Nick Kaler, he's stout. If he ran a 40-45 show season, he's a guy that could contend for a natty. That he wins a lot of races. He's on the podium all the time. And you look across the board, and no disrespect to the A mods, Kennedy Swan, Mike Anderson, all these drivers, but I'm telling you right now, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and just make sure people understand. All right, just because an A mod has a bigger motor, okay, does not necessarily mean that the level of competition or skill set in the drivers is higher. Okay, it doesn't. There's good drivers in both classes, but I promise you, there's way more of them in the Midwest mods. And I hear people say, "Oh man, I don't know why you can't just that person should be moving up from the Midwest mods to the A mods." Well, that's fine if you
If
are
you're an
going to
A-Mod
pay
driver, be
for it.
careful what
Yeah,
you wish for.
yeah, you gonna pay for it, because it costs a lot more to run an A mod. You burn tires up every single night, unlike a B mod. You can run them a little bit longer. Everybody, we don't need to go through all the different expenses, but let's just say A mods are way more expensive. Way less tracks have them. We've already seen car counts. They are a fraction of what you get in the B mod class. To me, the B mod class is just a better class to be in if you're a competitive individual. So Kaler, one of those drivers that very easily, he's got the budget. Kaler could move up into the A mod and he'd compete well. Hell of a driver, but he runs in the B mod class. So It don't matter who you take out of a late model, mod, whatever. You put him down in that class against Nick Kaler, he's going to give you problems. Okay, that just is what it is. In the
So,
super
yeah,
stocks,
the super stock race, you had a couple of heavy hitters with Stu Baca, Steve Stewart, and Terrence Spacek starting up front. And Steve Stewart looks like his suspension or his deal at the Red Clay last year hasn't slowed him down. In fact, he maybe even looks faster. Because man,
he
that
is motivated. Let's put
mhm.
it that way. He is motivated. We don't need to beat the dead horse. What happened at the end of last year? Okay, it sucked. It was a terrible deal. Another driver that has won in everything he's been in, mods, supers, Midwest mods. It don't matter. He gets in a car, he wins. He's got track champions up at the ABC Raceway in Ashland in every class that he's raced in. So he's another one of those examples that he's a stud. He can win races, and he got that 80 looking sharp, looking fast right out of the gate. Street stock Sean Amundsen held off who I would consider maybe to be the preseason favorite in my mind, Levi Rant, looking like he's going to be a contender for the Natty. Local driver Sean Amundsen held him off there. So, what before we jump on to Cedar, anything stick out to you other than it was a good race there? Mike Anderson, Kennedy Swan, Blake Adams. That was a really good race. Anything else stick out to you from Rice Paddy?
Nothing that I noticed. I just watched the feature races on fast forward, just trying to catch up a little. So
Sounds good. Cedar Lake Speedway, first track in our area, guys, to have two races in to start the season. The Double One Express hitting pay dirt, getting his first win of the year in his first night. Pat Dorr in the late models. In the modifieds, first career win. Cole Boston. This kid had looked pretty over the last couple of years. He started looking really sporty in that Midwest mod. He jumps into an A mod now. I think he's got 3 or 4 career races in that A mod. Parked it in Victory Lane at the Cedar Lake Speedway. Hell of a job. I have a good feeling that this kid's going to win a lot of races. Just another one of them young guns, right? I mean, you got him, you got Blake, you got Caden Blazer, Kennedy Swan. There's a lot of young blood in that mod class. Add Cole Boston to the list. This kid is going to make some noise in 2026. Super stocks, kind of a dominating performance. Dan Nisulke. What's notable about this? There's been 3 super stock races so far. All 3 of them won by dirt duelers. They have entered the chat. As we know, affordables and TRC are the ones that they've been around forever, right? They've won championships, a lot of races. You know, you got turbines by flat out performance. But enter into the chat, Dirt Dueler, they've been on the map now the last couple years. They're getting quicker and quicker, but now more drivers are getting into them. Man, oh man, they might be taking a little bit of a chunk out of the marketplace. All of them good cars. All of them have won a lot of races. I mean, there ain't nobody going to argue with the fact that Shane Sabraski has won a shit ton of races and is affordable, right? So the fact is, these dirt duelers, though, kind of a little hot streak to start the season. We'll see if this can carry on, or if maybe old Joe is going to be on the phone saying, we got to do something here. We can't be letting this happen. Midwest Mods, Jason Vandekamp getting it done. Rough weekend opening night. I think he didn't start the feature. He broke something in the heat. Goes out there and he got his first win of the year. He might be the most, I don't know this, but he might be the winningest Midwest mod driver in like the history of the class. He's been around for a long time. Won races in the A mod as well, but he's another one that people are like, why doesn't he move up? Because he doesn't. Why would you? He can race against 30 cars a night in the Midwest mod instead of 8 cars a night. Okay, let's just go there. So that's pretty cool to see Vandy getting it done. Here's an interesting one for you. USRA late models. So Cooper Sunby getting his first win of the year. And I don't know Cooper. You know, maybe I'll meet him over the course of the summer. But the name that got second place caught my eye. Cam Panitsky. So rumor has it that Nick Panitsky, if he races at all this year, is going to be pretty limited. Might just hit some specials or whatever. To the best of my knowledge, Cam is his kid. They went down to the southeast. I'd have to look online, but they went down to like that Florida, Georgia area over the winter and got a couple races in down there in the 604 late. another second generation driver. Not sure how old he is, but Cam Panitsky on the podium here to start the season. Going to be fun to watch. Anything else to touch on there before Bert gives us his update from the Dirt Kings opener at Shawano? Bert, you made it to your first race. Tell us about Shawano.
Yes, it was cold and cold and windy. The wind was blowing right into the grandstand. So, um, but they got the race in. The track definitely had some character in it. It was rough. I won't beat around the bush. It was rough. Um, During the it was Dirt Kings their first race of the season. 18 late models were on hand. um and a surprise winner in the feature, um Turk Letizia. He did win a Dirt Kings race at Plymouth a couple years ago, I guess. But this was his first one at Shawano Speedway, and he was the dominant car. I mean, he started on the front row. Hold on. He started on the front row, but um he was definitely the fast. I mean, he won by about half a lap. Um
Oh, wow.
yes.
Okay.
um and uh and as he pulled, well, the last couple laps, with 2 laps to go, he got really high in 4, and he was really loose the last couple laps. Well, then as he crossed the finish line, we all realized why. He had a flat tire as he crossed one of his rear tires was flat as he crossed the finish line. So it was going flat over the last few laps. But like I said, the track was rough. There were times when he went into corner 1, I bet all 4 tires were off the ground.
Oh
Um,
my.
Wow.
and yeah, the drivers figured it out later in the race. There was actually a high side, so if you drove above the roughness, you didn't jump around. But Nick Avalink was started near the front, but I didn't talk to him, but it kind of looked like he broke something in the rear end, like 5 laps into the race. So that's why he didn't finish. Brett Swedberg, he spun out in turn 2. I didn't see what caused it, if it was the rough track or what, but he had a flat tire. He changed it, came back out. But it was yeah, the Turk Letizia show in the late model division.
Yeah, congratulations, Turk Logan, getting it done there. Brewster Baker's nemesis. Oh, yeah, Turk Letizia, not Turk Logan. Okay, fair enough. You said there was a little drama in one of the features
Letizia,
too.
yeah, not a little, yeah, yeah. The IMCA stock car feature. Did you guys watch that race
I
that
did.
I
I
sent you the
watched the
link
last
to?
few laps of it. Yep.
So yeah, Travis Spalding led most of the race, and Trent Nolan was right on his bumper the entire time, and he throughout the whole race, he tried to get around him and couldn't get around him. And then on the last lap, he stuffed it into 1. I mean, it was an aggressive move, but it didn't even look like the cars touched too much. But I mean, he definitely forced Spalding up the track. And then, it just looked like Spalding just flat out dumped him in turn 3 and 4. I guess I'd like to hear your 2 opinions. But Chano has a fault rule. So this isn't, a no fault rule. And they deem that the 11 car caused the caution by spinning Nolan out. And so Nolan was given the win. Well, I guess Spalding wasn't very happy about it, and the drivers had words in the claim area, I guess, and they had to be separated. And but to me, it's cut and dry. I mean, there's a at fault rule, and to me, Spalding was clearly at fault, so he should go to the back. I mean, now if there wasn't an at fault rule, then it would be different. But with the at fault rule, I think it was a correct call.
Yeah.
He didn't hammer him, he didn't smash him, he rubbed him, and rubbing son is racing, and he didn't mean to spin him. He just meant to rattle his cage. That's all he meant to do. Um,
You know,
yeah, that was the right call. I mean, there's no other way of looking at it.
what I saw was the corner before that altercation. Travis is leading the race. He goes into the corner and he pushes up the racetrack and lets Nolan inside of him. They're side by side down the straightaway. It looked to me like the Travis character pretty much run them down to the infield, getting into the corner. And guess what? Rubbin's racing, right? So he banks off of him, runs him up the track, and then the next corner,
And
the Travis was just going to barrel it back inside of him, and I'm either going to punt him or spin him out, whatever happens.
And I will say this, and somebody else in the stands said this to me during the race. I mean, Travis Spalding, 11 car. I mean, he was pinching Nolan down
Mhm.
by the tires entering one, and I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that's what was happening. And then on the last lap, like Changa said, Nolan did have the inside position and stuffed it in there, and forced Travis up the track. But I mean, you you're watching racing on dirt. You want to see some aggressive moves like that. You don't want to see people dumping each other, but you
Right.
want to see aggressive moves.
In my mind, Nolan drove a perfect race, and the other guy pissed it away when he pushed and let Nolan inside of him in the first place.
Yeah, and I don't know either guy, but I would agree with exactly with what Changa says. The guy was pinching, the guy was pinching. I'm sorry, I'm here to win the race. I didn't come here to get second and follow you around the racetrack the whole entire race. You left the door open just enough. I filled the gap. Maybe a little contact was made. We both went up the racetrack. It is what it is. You get down into 3 and 4, and I don't know if he. I think I got to be honest with you. As a racer, the last thing that's going through a guy's mind in that situation is I'm going to try to spin the guy out. Look like it, right? I believe that maybe he tried to get him to push,
Well,
right?
he
Could
wanted
be.
to get to his door and run him up
Yeah,
the racetrack, but
yeah.
didn't work
I
out.
think he tried to get him, get into him, get him to move up the track, slide underneath him, maybe make a little contact, and as soon as the contact was made, around goes Nolan. It's like
Right.
that didn't work. So, fortunately, nobody else got caught up in it, right? Because they had enough of a
Right.
lead where it didn't wreck the whole field.
Right.
So, yeah, you gonna head back to Shawano this week?
I will not be at Shawano this week because the Lions Club that I'm a member of, we have our spring steak fry on Saturday.
Okay, okay. Well, before we jump into a little bit of news on the national scene, how about a shout out to Mac and the crew over at East Central Sports? So they're over in Rush City, Minnesota, just north of the Twin Cities off of I-35, about 40 minutes north of Forest Lake. They're your number one source for pit bikes, kids ATVs, Toro zero-turn lawnmowers. They got a lot of cool stuff, right? Golf carts. I got one coming. Super jacked about that. We will have it at the USA Nationals. But Mac does an awesome job. He does a lot for the sport. They got a lot of great stuff over there. Check them out online at www.eastcentralsports.com. So, Lucas Oil Dirt Late Models race this past weekend. They were up in the Northeast. Night number 2 rained out, so they ran Georgetown on, I believe it was Friday, Hagerstown, Maryland on Saturday, and it was at Georgetown, Moran, Huddy, Max Blair, and then they went to Hagerstown, the Rocket Shep, Brandon Shepard, Brandon Overton, and then the 71 of Hudson O'Neill. Okay, the points right now, Moran has a 25-point lead over Huddy. Did you guys get a chance to watch anything from the Lucas Oil races? And if so, what stuck out to you guys?
I saw the Hagerstown feature.
What stuck out?
Um, well, I mean, Huddy continues to have a really good season, but I mean, the driver that's really um, doing really well is Max Blair. I mean, pretty much every race he's challenging for at least a podium position, and it's good to see him becoming a contender on the national scene.
Is he fifth in points right now? I only wrote down the top three.
Yes, one, two, three, four. Yeah, he's fifth in points.
Is
RTJ's
fourth
sixth.
is fourth the number 6 car?
No, fourth is Sheppy.
Oh, Sheppy's in fourth now. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so that which makes sense because he's been good as of late. But Max Blair, and then you look at the flip side of that and no podiums again for RTJ. Um, your thoughts? What's going on there? I mean, how can a person go? I mean, to the best of my knowledge, they all have the same car, right? And I don't know if it's a shock deal. I don't know if it's an engine deal. I don't know if it's just like he broke a mirror or ran across the path of a black cat. I don't really know what it is, okay? But
Burrow's,
he's not fast this year
Well,
as of yet.
and the thing is, they changed the way they determine the champion this year. So, all
yeah,
the
now
years
he's wishing there was a chase.
all the years that he dominated, they had the chase, and now he's not dominating, and they no longer have the chase. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's up with him. I mean, is he trying to race too many different divisions in the off season and during the season and stuff? I don't know.
He hasn't done that a lot
Okay,
lately, though.
so
Right.
his quite plain and simple, his shit's just not good enough. I mean, let's look at this. Okay, so last year Brandon Overton couldn't find his ass with a flashlight, right? Burrows leaves, he's fast. Burrows goes to freaking RTJ. Now RTJ is not RTJ anymore. For 3 years, RTJ was arguably one of the top two guys in the country, right?
Is
And now,
Burrows still there, or did they part ways?
no, his old crew chief that was what was called his crew chief from last year is gone now. But Burrows and Tharp are
Right.
still there, and boy, I don't know. I mean, they're not clicking like they once did when they were with SSI. It's just boy, I mean, it's just they have not found it. Even the race he won, he wasn't the best car. Sheppy just kind of had a melee in lap traffic, and but there's another
And
thing,
one
like you said, Sheppy's been really good at just going to the Lucas thing. Sheppy's been good. Devin Moran, he can't do anything in Illinois, and he didn't do a whole heck of a lot down at that special down there, and that JD won the 125 grand or whatever it was. But you get them, Lucas Oil, half their schedules, all these big half milers, and guess what? He's awesome on them. So I mean,
Yep.
the guy every time it's a Lucas race, he's up front every single time. It's just the same old
Yeah,
cast of characters. Unfortunately for RTJ, he's not one of them anymore.
well, and what Bert said is just so true, right? I mean, a couple years in a row, he's about dominating, and they got the chase format, and he's like, "This is stupid. I should have won all these, whatever." And now they don't have that, and it's like, okay, we're gonna go back to the traditional points, and it's like he's struggling. He might not even finish. Quite honestly, the way it is right now, there's a long season, right? Long season ahead of him. But the way it's sitting right now, he wouldn't be in the chase anyway.
Oh, he's in
Right.
sixth in the points, right?
Right, he wouldn't even be in it. So we'll see if RTJ can turn it around. Put in the comments below what does everybody else think the problem is with RTJ because he's a talented driver. It's not a lack of skill. Let's put it that way.
No.
Mars late models, they had a couple races, Brownstown, Bullring, and Peoria. The Reaper Ryan Gustin wins night one. Tanner English got third. Bert, did you happen to see who got second?
I did not.
Bloomington's Jake Little. So I went down to Fairbury with Dave Dulciak here, and the Dulciak boys are just about ready to go. Season starting here in a week or two. But I kept an eye on this red number 38 car. I'm like, boy, he looks the part. I don't know if he's National Touring Series, relevant yet or whatever. But I'm like, he just looks pretty quick. And he was fast as shit that first night. Cowboy up, rodeo track a little bit, parks it in on the podium there with a strong second place finish. Just another Illinois late model driver to add to the mix, possibly, at least on the regional type level, because they have, I don't know, the way I look at it, dirt late model racing right now, that Illinois contingent is impressive. That is one hell of a group of drivers. And maybe the fact that he's raced against all these guys for so long that by default he's getting faster, getting quicker, getting more confidence. So going to be fun to see if maybe Jake Little can steal a Mars win or two this year in that 38 ride. And then at Peoria, fourth straight, what is it, Gary Swybold Memorial, I believe it was, the El Paso Express, Ryan Unziker, just about gave it away. Dennis Herb Jr. got inside of him, and then he changed his line a little bit, hit the afterburners, and Dennis Erb Jr. slipped back to third. A guy that's really been super quiet probably over the last 4 or 5 years. Frank Heckenass Jr. with a solid second place finish. So I tell you what, if you're a dirt late model fan, and if you have Flow, if you have Dirt Vision, you have these streaming platforms, you got to watch some of these Mars races. You got to watch it. Dirt track racing for late models in the state of Illinois. I don't know. Would you guys say it's second to none? It's pretty good, and
Yeah.
we know what's coming up
Well,
next week, right?
well, I mean, not only the drivers that race there, but the tracks that are in Illinois are so conducive to exciting racing.
Badass bull rings on black dirt. I love it. And there's 5 of them in a row next week. We'll talk about our upcoming races soon. All right. USMTS, they went down to Scotland County Speedway. And night number 1, some interesting stuff happened on night number 1, Bert. So Tanner Mullins scored the official winner of the race, okay? Reese Solander, another podium with a second, and then Justin Zeitner, we've heard that name. He's had a lot of success regionally in the late model, specifically with the Tri-State Late Model Series, right? He got a podium. Cade Dillard was gone. Straightaway lead in the 97 flat tire race over, okay? Rodney Sanders gets the lead, goes on to win the race, crosses the checkered flag first, failed droop rule. And to the best of my knowledge, I think he broke something in the left rear and it cammed over. Is what I was told. I could be totally wrong on this, but it sounds like it cammed over the bird cage. And when that happens, the car stays up and the left rear stays up, and he failed droop. And tough break. I mean, it's just a faulty part. And if that's the case, should he have maybe been waved off the track, knowing that you're going to get DQ'd anyway, or fall back to 6th or 7th and don't make sure you're going to have a good point night, but you're not on the scales? Do something. I wonder when it broke, and if he knew it broke, and if there's anything he could have done about it. But a tough break for both Cade Dillard and, of course, for Rodney Sanders. Night number 2, Dillard, Mullins, Solander, your top 3. Solander, a guy that we've been talking about a little bit, leading the points, 30 points over Tanner Mullins. Any thoughts here on the USMTS from this past weekend?
Well, I think it's starting to play out that Mullins and Solander are kind of they're here to stay, right? It's been a handful of different tracks, and they're the common names up front all the time. I think, Rodney Sanders has been in the top 5 a whole bunch, but he hasn't had a whole hell of a lot of luck yet. So I would imagine I wouldn't give up on him. He's gonna have his share of podiums over the course of the year. But them two appear to be the class of the field at the time now. Anyhow.
And Brandon Davis is 3rd in points, right?
Oh.
So
I
go
was
ahead.
just going to say that I've been impressed with Brandon Davis so far this year. For this being his first year following the tour, so far it's really a testament to the talent that he has.
So I got a question for you guys, and this is not an indictment on Brandon Davis. I understand why he's doing what he's doing. Okay, so this coming week they have at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway the Dairyland Showdown, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, with a USRA North Star
Northern
modified?
Lights.
Yeah, Northern Lights. Yeah, the Northern Lights Mod Tour, right? Well, he put an announcement out that he will not be in attendance with his modified, even though it's hour and a half. He lives right down in that neighborhood. He's not going to race there. He's saving his stuff for the following week to go USMTS racing. So he's just going to take the weekend off. He ain't going anywhere. Now, again,
Well, there's
I understand.
USMTS this weekend anyhow, isn't there?
Canceled.
USMTS at Route 66 is canceled.
Yeah, they canceled. So they canceled. They're off, and then they got so they have a weekend off. Now I get it. He's not a guy that's on a massive budget, and to the best of my knowledge, I think he only has one car. So if you're racing for a USMTS championship and you don't have a lot of funding and a lot of parts and a lot of cars and engines and all that stuff, you kind of got to pick your battles, right? Now, as a local fan down there, right, that you're like, man, I'm used to going to these local tracks and watching Brandon Davis compete. This is where he cut his teeth. This is where he raced. As a fan, how disappointing is it to you, right, that one of your top drivers, because USMTS canceled, you're thinking, shit, he's going to be there. Cool, I get to see Brandon Davis. Now you don't get to see him because he's saving his equipment. And again, I understand why he's doing it. It still sucks.
I'm going to hold out hope that someone says, come drive my car.
Bert, as a fan, does that kind of stuff
Oh,
disappoint you when your local hotshot's not there and could be?
well, obviously it's disappointing when the best drivers aren't at an event that you plan on attending to watch. So yeah, from a fan standpoint, it's disappointing. But I agree with you. I understand why he's doing it. He's looking at the big picture.
100%. And I have some friends that watch the show and they're like, the big picture sucks ass. The big picture is not good for overall racing. I have a friend of mine, Derek, that says I don't even care to go to the races. He's a guy I used to go every Friday, every Saturday. I love going to the races, but the fact is, I've just lost interest. If the people that I want to watch race aren't gonna be there, I don't want to go, right? And I get it. There's some diehard fans out there that are like, I just want to watch good racing. But there's also an equally, and if not more, number of fans that is like, I want to watch somebody specific. So when their driver's not going to be there, it's kind of a buzzkill for them for
Now,
sure.
would you expect to see Jim and Joe Chisholm there?
I would expect for sure Joe, because he's not running USMTS. I would expect to see that, but I would expect to see both. I would expect to see both.
And
I
that
don't know
that there's
that. I
that
haven't
Jacob
confirmed.
Blees, he runs really good too. He's a good shoe.
Yep, Lucas shot, although I heard he may run pretty
Jake Tim
limited.
gonna be in a mod?
I would have to think so. Yeah, probably Dustin Sorensen. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's going to be a hell of a field of cars there for sure. Plus, of course, you got the World of Outlaw late
How
models,
about
right?
this one? How about the thriller, Cade Dillard?
That is very possible. Good thing we don't pick our next picks until Thursday,
No.
because we'll know for sure if he's there when we look at my race pass, right? So we will see that. Yeah, if Dillard's there, boy, that would be.
That
I
could be a make for a
he
pretty nice field of mods and a
he
pretty.
typically doesn't do double duty though, right? Now he may. I don't know if he's gonna or not. Why wouldn't he? I mean, as fast as that mod is, I think I'd bring that thing everywhere I go for gas money. I mean, he's the fastest car in the country. All right. World of Outlaw sprint cars were at Knoxville. Night number 1 went to Brad Sweet. Night number 2 went to David Gravel. But they're so Gravel podium both nights. You got second and a first. Bert, there was another driver that got a podium both nights. Do you remember who that was?
I do.
Your reigning, defending Knoxville Nationals champion.
Oh,
And Tim.
Tim. Yeah,
Yep, Ryan Timms.
I watched the condensed versions of the features today, and yeah, Tim's was up front in both of those, and he's a fun one to watch.
That kid is going to be something. I'm telling you. I mean, you win the Knoxville Nationals at that age. If I don't know what his situation is, obviously he must have some backing, right? But I think his future is pretty bright, and I think that bodes well for the 410 sprint cars, specifically the World of Outlaws. Ryan Timms is a real deal. Keep an eye on that kid for sure. So shout out here, coffee drinkers, Agara Cafe. So if you drink coffee, if it's part of your daily ritual, right? If you're somebody that loves having your coffee every day, or maybe you drink matcha, which is like a green tea, but maybe you're looking for something just a little bit more, right? And when I say a little bit more, something that has 9 supplements, it helps with everything from blood sugar numbers to losing weight, right, to joint pain, and a lot of different things. I had a phone call come in there. So if you're that person, right, if you're looking for a functional beverage, specifically a functional coffee, check out Agara Cafe. How do you do that? Shoot me a text, give me a call, hit me up on Messenger. I can fire over a link to you so where you can check it out, learn a little bit about the product, and I can get some in the mail to you where you can try it and see if you like it. And number two, if it helps make you feel better, that's Agara Cafe.
You know
So
what? One other thing on the sprint car topic. Did you see that the concrete kid, he's going to be out for a little while longer, and he's got a substitute driver for like 10
who
races
is
coming
that?
up here.
Who's driving?
Casey Kane, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So
I did see
in that
something.
10, yeah, in
Okay.
that 10 races, there is a couple World of Outlaws, a couple high limits, and some of the Pennsylvania stuff. So that'll be interesting. They got his crew chief used to work for Casey Kane Racing on the Casey Kane team, a year or two ago.
Okay.
So yeah, so they're familiar with each other. That might be interesting.
For sure. Doing right by the sponsors, right? You sponsor a car,
Mm-hmm.
you want to see it on the track. If it's sitting
100%.
in the garage, so that's it right there. Could that lead to another opportunity down the road, right? Where maybe Casey Kane, deep pockets, Anthony Macri, National Touring Series. Could we see something brewing there
I sure
where
hope so.
I do too? Anthony Macri's absolutely a superstar.
Think about
Um,
you get Ryan Timms another year or two down the road, and then you get Anthony Macri there. Boy, I mean, the world of sprint car racing's looking pretty nice right now.
it is. It is. So let's jump into a little bullseye or BS. All right. But a tribute bullseye or BS because we're going to do two guys. We're going to do two. And the first one's going to be the legendary Jeff Hinkemeyer. Now, for all you down in central Minnesota, Fergus, Viking Speedway fans, you all know him as the 4F, okay? I grew up knowing him as the 13 ride, the Mach 1. That thing was unbelievable. Bert, the year that I fell in love with racing was 1981. Ron Jones drove for my dad. We raced all over the place. I got to meet all these people. I mean, I got pictures parked next to Jeff Hinkemeyer, parked next to Kreiderman, Jeff Helget, traveling everywhere. Got to meet the Rudigers and the Prochnows and all these people, right? And that's really when I fell in love. And at that point, Jeff Hinkemeyer in 1981 was a 21-year-old, right? Superstar. He was unbelievable. He ran Thunder Bay every Wednesday. He ran Superior, Hibbing, and Proctor weekly. I got to see him come up and just have a reign of dominance in our area. Absolutely loved it. So he was kind of that guy, right? He was cool before being cool was cool, right? He was kind of that. He had that aura to him. He was
He was
that
like
Jeff.
me.
Yeah, just like Chonga, same
Yep.
deal, Yeah, like Jeff Gordon type deal. I mean, he was
Oh no,
just
no, I'm not like Jeff Gordon.
no, he was
I'm like
not the
Taylor Earnhardt.
intimidator. He was not the intimidator, but he was that. He just had that charisma, right? He won races, but he had that that charisma. In fact, so we know that our boy Uper still in the hospital. I will say this: super excited that he is taking some very good steps forward, looking like he's going to be getting out of the ICU into a regular hospital room, and in the coming days might even be getting transitioned up to Duluth. So super excited about that. I haven't talked to him yet, but he has talked to his wife, and 12 days of sedation is a long, long time. So, but with that said, his brother Carl got hurt really bad over at the Grove Creek Speedway back, I think it was '05. He'll correct me if I'm wrong. But long story short, remember back in the day when they actually watered tracks and you had to pack them before the races? Remember that, right? Okay. All the young fans are like, what do you mean? Cars had to pack the track? Wait, what? That sure as shit. You had to do
We
that.
don't even have mud scrapers anymore.
Right. So he was out on the track. He got hit by a car, went through the air, and he took the person's hood pin stud right into his skull. Right. And it was a bad deal. He was hospitalized for a significant amount of time. Jeff Hinkemeyer took time out of his day to go visit him in the hospital. That's the kind of guy he was. Right. So super cool guy. So I'm going to give you a bunch of stats here. Pay attention. There's going to be a few. And then you guys tell me which one you think is complete BS. Okay?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. To the best of my knowledge, it might be more tracks than this, but Hall of Famer at Viking Speedway in Alexandria, Superior Speedway, which is the Gondik Law Speedway in Superior, Wisconsin, the Hibbing Speedway, and the Proctor Speedway. 1981, like I said, he was 21 years old. Big year that year. As a 21-year-old in the late model, he won 33 feature events. In 1981, he won the Labor Day Shootout up at the Hibbing Raceway. In 1981, he won his first of 2 Silver 1000s. In 1981, he won the Thunderbird Open down at the Dodge County Speedway in Casson, Minnesota. He has over 200 feature wins in over 21 track championships, including 8 at the Viking Speedway. He won the 1986 Gopher 50 at the Steele County Speedway in Owatonna. He was the 1990 NASCAR Great Northern Region champion and won 18 of 22 features in the series that year. And his last win came in July 2nd of 2010 over at in Fergus Falls at the I-94 Speedway, and he retired in 2011 with some back stuff. So, all right. Which one's BS?
As far as I can tell, there's 2 of them that are BS. How about you go first, Bert?
I'm gonna take a guess and say the NASCAR one is
Hey,
BS.
Changa?
Well, I think the second one you said was he won 2 Silver 1000s.
Yep.
Okay, well, I know he won 4 Silver 1000s. And then you said another one that he won the 86 Gopher 50. And my research says he won the 91 Gopher 50. So that would make both of them not true.
Okay, now my research, I went off of Dirt on Dirt, so I don't have him winning any Gopher 50s.
Gopher 50, Steele County Fairgrounds, 1991 is what I have.
Yeah, where did you get your stats?
I don't know. The internet.
Okay, I'm looking it up here. I'm gonna look on Dirt. Bert, do you have Dirt on Dirt still or no?
Well, anyhow, he
Yeah.
won 4 Silver 1000s, and you said 2, so I'll go with that's not true.
You sure he won 4 Silver 1000s?
81, 86, 91, and 99.
Okay, so the Gopher 50, 1991 was Rick Eggersdorf.
I got some horrible information here then.
And the Silver 1000, okay. What years did you say that he won?
81.
He won 81 and 82.
Yeah, see, I have 81, 86, 91, and 99.
No. 91 was Rick Eggersdorf. 99 was Rick Eggersdorf. 86 was Rick Eggersdorf.
Oh, so they must think he's Rick Eggersdorf on whatever the hell I was reading.
Yeah, so
all right, well, you just told me he won 2, so that one.
Yeah.
So I'm going with the Gopher 51.
1982.
I'm going with the Gopher 51. Final answer.
Well, we already said that.
Yeah, you told me he won none. So I'm taking that one.
Yeah, Gopher 50, 1986 was won by Tom Stiding. Tom Stiding won that. He actually got second in that race to Tom Stiding. So, yeah, hell of a career. So Bert, he actually did. So Viking Speedway and that whole area, Madison and all that, that was NASCAR sanctioned up until early 2000s, somewhere in that neighborhood. So yeah, he did win the NASCAR Great Northern Region. I don't know what that paid. It was pretty big.
Well,
and
I believe that portion, but he won 18 at 22 features. That was the surprising part.
Yeah, that is surprising. He dominated that year for sure.
Yeah, I read that. That's in my notes too. Yeah, 18 to 22.
Yep, transitioned over and raced. He had the 13. Glenn's Repairs, dad owned a shop, and he was number 13. And then Joe Saulner retired from racing. Jeff Hinkemeyer took over that ride. I think it was 84, 85, somewhere in that neighborhood, and ended up racing the 4F from that point forward for the Saulner family. So the next one here, Hall of Famer. Both these drivers, by the way, National Dirt Late Model Hall of Famers. Okay, so Larry Moore, he passed away a few days before Jeff did. So what I have on him is a three-time World 100 champion, 1980 NDRA champion, 1987 he won the Dirt Track World Championship in Pennsboro, by the way. Stars champion 85 and 86. He has 10 wins at Speed Weeks, including 6 at Volusia. He won the Hillbilly 100 in 1984. North-South 100, he won that one time. I don't have the year. North-South 100 in Florence, one-time winner there. USA 50 winner at Paducah 3 times. National Dirt Late Model Hall of Famer, I said. Raced USAC sprints in the 70s and won a USAC stock car race at the Milwaukee Mile, 250-mile race, a USAC stock car race. Changa can go first this time since Bert went first last time.
All right, so there were so many clues there. I'm trying to process them all.
Well, that could take a while.
Well, right. I was writing fast, but I wasn't writing that fast.
Three-time World 100,
Yep, that's
1980
true.
NDRA. Dirt Track World Championship winner at Pennsboro in 87. Stars Series champion in 85, 86. 10 Speed Weeks wins, 6 of them at Volusia. Hillbilly 100 winner. North-South 100 winner. USA 50 winner 3 times. Raced USAC sprints in the 70s and won a USAC stock car race at the Milwaukee Mile.
Oh God, there's so many of them. I was doing some research on him, and I know he won a bunch of Speed Weeks races, but I'm gonna say it wasn't 10, so I'll go with that one.
Bert?
I'm gonna go with Pennsboro victory in '87.
You're both wrong.
Right.
You're both wrong. So he did win the Dirt Track World Championship in 87. And he does have 10 Speed Weeks wins, 6 of them at Volusia. You want to take another stab at it?
I'm gonna say the USA 50 3 times. He didn't do that.
He did that.
Okay. Oh, you told me to take another stab at it, so
I'll say the Milwaukee Mile one.
He did that too. I found that interesting. He did that too. He did not win the North-South 100. His best finish was a 4th. The driver that won that year, racing John Mason.
all right.
So
what years did he win the World 100? Was 1974 one of them?
79, 81, 85, according to Dirt on Dirt.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so legendary driver, a guy that I quite honestly, other than a few clips that I found on YouTube, never watched him race, right? Because they didn't have streaming, and he was kind of a Southeast guy. But yeah, both of them Hall of Famers, and thoughts and prayers to the friends and family of both of them, but specifically to Jeff Hinkemeyer, one of my childhood heroes, right? Growing up, he was a hell of a race car driver. So let's get into our pick'ems, boys. Governor layeth the smacketh down. He absolutely whooped the dog snot out of us.
Is he driving a Masters built SmackDown?
I think so. Yeah,
Yep.
No kidding.
Was last week.
Yeah, no kidding. He moved into second in points. Changa, our buddy Josh there, Dano, JR in the 71A after a horrible week the week before, slid back into the top 5. What are we picking this week?
Okay, well, if something canceled that I haven't heard of, let me know. But so Tuesday we did the high limit sprint cars at Arrowhead Speedway, and that canceled.
That canceled.
So we're doing high limit sprints Thursday and Saturday at Texas Motor Speedway. We did Tuesday World of Outlaw late models at Independence, and then we're doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday the World of Outlaw late models Dairyland Showdown at Mississippi Thunder, along with the USRA Northern Lights modified tour Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Mississippi Thunder. We're doing Lucas Oil late models Friday at Circle City Raceway in Indianapolis, Indiana, and then we're doing the 40th Latham Memorial in Florence on Saturday. USMTS canceled. World of Outlaw Sprint Cars canceled. Hunt the Front canceled. So that's all we're doing.
Good thing we had a lot on the board, because World of Outlaw Sprint Cars canceled. I don't remember seeing that. I know it was saw something in the text feed. They pulled the pin too.
Yep,
Jesus.
Attica and Sharon both.
All right. So bold predictions here, boys. Bold predictions. We had a few come off the board this past week. All right. So Uper's predictions from Carl and the High Five Racing Group. Uper had 3 come off the board. His first one was Donnie Schatz is going to dominate at Schattsville and is going to double up, winning both nights in the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars. Got a 9th and a 10th. That did not happen. He said
doubled
that
up on top 10s.
He did double up on top 10s, yes. He said the new deal, Hudson O'Neill, will be the Lucas Oil point leader after this week. Had a good week, but so did Moran, so that didn't really happen. And then he said that Ogilvy would have more A-mods than Cedar Lake had at their opener, and they'd have at least 20. Now, it rained out partway through, but do you know how many they had? 20. 20. So we'll give them that one. All right. Bert, you had 3 come off the board here as well. Okay, you said the Shawano Dirt Kings would have at least 20 late models. They had 18. You said that Shawano would have double the car count, or 141 would have double the car count of Shawano. You were off by like 21.
Yeah, and Changa was whining, "Oh, that's a bunt. That's a bunt."
He was whining. He was whining. Instigator over here. You said Mars late models would both race, and they'd have 6 different podium finishers over the 2 nights. Bert?
Did they?
Yep, they sure did. Good job. Got that one right. Changa had 3 come off the board. He said Ogilvy would have more late models, mods, supers, Midwest mods, and streets than Cedar Lake opener. You almost had a bad beat, but you got it by 1 car in the super stock. It was close. I was looking. I'm like, boy, they didn't have any supers. That had to be close, but you got that one right. You also said Lucas Oil Dirt late models. All races would have a different winner. 2 of the 3 happened. Both were won by a different driver. And then you said the World of Outlaw Sprints at Knoxville. At least 2 non-Woo regulars will have podiums.
That happened for sure.
Yep.
Tim's and Sweet.
Yep, Tim's and Sweet. That is correct. Clean sweep for Changa. I had 2 come off the board. I said USMTS Reese Solander would finish top 5 both nights and podium at least one of them. That happened. And then I said that Blake would podium both nights and win one. And if only one night ran, he would win that night. And he did. That happened. So
he got second in the B mod. So are we talking A mods or B mods?
It's a podium. It's a podium. Yeah, it's still a podium. All right. So the points after this week, we keep track of correct predictions and correct percentage. I have 12 correct, 52.2%. Changa, with your big week, you're at 11 correct now, 35.5%. Uper at 9 correct, 27.3, and Bert at 7 correct, 26.9. So
What are you at?
I am at 12 correct,
Oh,
52.2 correct.
you're just kicking our asses.
I'm only ahead of you by one, and
Yeah, but I've had a lot more come off the board.
Yeah, you've had 31 of them come off the board, and I've had 23 come off the board.
Yeah.
So, yep, that is a fact. All right, so let's make 3 laps around the track. Let's go Bert, Changa, and then I have Upers here, and I have my own.
All right. I'll go World of Outlaws at Mississippi Thunder. How many nights of racing do they have there?
3.
3 complete shows for late models. All
and
right.
mods.
I'm gonna go. Superman will have a better average finish than Bobby Pierce.
Okay. Superman Jonathan Davenport, a better average finish than the BP32 at the Dairyland Showdown. All right, Changa?
I'll go to the Dairyland and I will say in the late models, all different winners.
All different winners. Okay. All right. So we got
at least two races have to happen. If it's one, it's a wash.
Okay.
You know.
At least 2. Okay. All right. We got a Brent Larson smorgasbord here from the High Five Racing crew, Carl and Uper. His first one says this: the B1 Bomber will set a new track record in time trials at the Dairyland Showdown.
Carl?
Carl.
Okay, Carl.
Brent Larson, a new track record in qualifying at MTS.
Oh.
Okay.
I like it. That's bold.
That is bold. That is bold. All right. I am going to go Dairyland Showdown 2. And I'm going to go mods. And I'm going to say, and this is a relative term. Like, I would consider Joe Chisholm a local. Okay. He might not run there weekly, but Joe Chisholm is a local. Okay. Obviously, Kate Dillard is not a local. Dustin Sorensen is a local. Jake Tim is a local. Right? Jim Chisholm's a local. Right? Locals. So with that, so Tanner, well, Mullins might be there. Sanders might be there.
Oh, this could be fun.
Yeah, it could be a fun race for sure. But I'm going to say local drivers will have 50% or more of the podiums and will win at least one.
I think that's a bunt.
Do you?
If all them guys are locals, yes.
Well, if Sanders is there, if Mullins is there, if Dillard is there.
They're not going to be there.
I don't know. No.
Not what they told me.
No. I didn't even ask because we're not picking until the races are all going to be up. So I'm going to go with that. Dairyland Showdown in the mods. And
seems like a bunt, right, Bert?
I'm assuming Dillard's going to be
all there. All the good guys count as locals, so I promise you they're going to get one win.
Sanders ain't a local. I bet Sanders is there. I would think he'll be there, right? So locals, 50% or more of the podiums and will win at least one of the nights. 2 races must happen.
Okay.
For it to count. 2 must happen. All right. Let's go back to Bert for his second prediction.
How many high limit races are we picking? 2?
2.
I
will say Rico has no podium finishes in high limits.
Why? Why are you going to be mean to Rico?
Because he's running like crap.
You're not wrong.
He went backwards at Knoxville.
You know he's won 3 in a row at the track they're going to, right?
Well, that means that he's destined to not win.
So Chonga's prediction then is Rico's going to win both nights at Texas.
No, that's not what I said.
That's what I heard. What do you
All
got?
right. Jim's second prediction. So Bert's first one, that was JD would have a higher average finish than Pierce.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Nick Hoffman, higher average finish than JD.
Okay. All right. And I will go back to Uper's second prediction here. The B1 bomber will make all 3 A mains without using a provisional at the Dairyland Showdown.
All right. I love this.
All right. I'm going to go. I'll go Dairyland Showdown as well.
In my bedroom.
Minnesota.
On top of the fridge.
Minnesota late model drivers. Okay. Minnesota late model drivers will account for at least
2 podiums.
Wow, hour went out in here. She's getting dark. She's dark. I'm gonna have to turn the light on. I'm gonna
see you no more.
Yeah, I look better this way.
True.
2 podiums. 2 podiums.
2 podiums for Minnesota late model drivers?
Yes. Yes.
There we go.
We'll get the overall lights on, even
We're
though
talking heat races, B mains or A mains?
A mains. 2 podiums.
All right.
2 podiums. Minnesota late model drivers.
Now, do these late model drivers have to get the podium in the late model, or these late model drivers can also get a podium in the model?
Yeah. In late model. I'll put that down.
All
yes,
right.
in the late models.
All
So
right.
that would be Sorensen, Jake Tim, B1 Bomber, Baby Bomber, right? So at least 2. No, I didn't. No. Fuck, not 2 podiums. Jesus.
It's like, all right.
I got distracted here by the freaking lights.
You heard it. He's got to. He can't change it now, can he?
Yeah. Bert hasn't made his prediction here. Holy crap, that would have been terrible. Definitely not 2 podiums. No.
Are you sure?
No, it's 2 top 10s.
It's 2 top 10s. Well, that might be a little soft. All right.
I don't even think that's a bunt. Because Jake Tim has been absolutely shite in that late model.
He's been practicing on that track for a month.
He has. He could be a wild card. Brent Larson has had some good runs down there. I think he actually did have a podium a couple years ago down there.
Austin Sorensen's won races there.
Sorensen can be fast there. Yeah. So 2 top 10s. Holy shit.
I liked your first one. That was bold.
In the late model. You almost talked me into that.
Oh, God.
2 top 10s by Minnesota late model drivers at the Dairyland Showdown. Wow. Okay, that was almost bad. All right, Bert.
Carl's calling me a pussy right now because that wasn't bold enough for him.
All right. Yeah, I hope I'm wrong on this one, but it's bold predictions, so I'm going to say Shawano Speedway will have less than 70 total cars this coming weekend.
Punch!
Okay. Less than 70 total cars for Shawano this weekend. Chonga.
Well, I might as well do it then since you talked me into it. I'm going to go with Rico. Of all of the high limit regulars in attendance, will have the highest average finish this week.
I don't even think you're going to see much for Woo guys there because they still have their hijack deal, so I don't think they can go. So Rico, highest average finish of the high limit regulars this week. Okay. And the third and final prediction for Uper Carl in the high 5 group. the B1 bomber Brent Larson going to shock the world and win at least one night at the Dairyland Showdown.
I hope he's right.
Nobody can say he's not bold, right? All right. I'm going to say I'm going to do a parlay.
Now, you know what? I can't wait. I can't wait until Uper's better and he can go back and read these bold predictions to see if they're the same as he would have picked.
Oh, he's going to be pissed about this one. He's going to be pissed about this one for sure. All right. I'm going to do a three-legged parlay here. Okay. All right. My three-legged parlay is this. Reitzel will have a better average finish than Rico.
Okay.
And Jim Chisholm will have a better average finish than Joe Chisholm.
Oh,
And
wow.
Nick Hoffman will have a better average finish than Bobby Pierce.
Okay.
So a three-legged parlay on the weekend. Doesn't matter how many races happen. There's three things there. So with that said, that's it, boys. Anything to add here? What are you looking forward to most this weekend? There's a bunch of local racing going on this weekend too.
I'm looking forward to the Dairyland Showdown.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Anytime World of Outlaws comes to Wisconsin, it's always a little extra special.
I'm super pumped to see which mods are going to show up too. That's going to be a good show.
Right, and those guys do a hell of a job down there. Tyrone and Bob and all them guys down at Mississippi Thunder. I mean, that place has really turned into something. Man, I hope Mother Nature cooperates with them. Mother Nature hasn't been nice to them the last couple of years. They haven't got all three nights in for a little while. The weather's been a little sketchy. So
Looks
hopefully,
like no rain.
Yeah, that's
now,
so far.
The temperatures aren't the greatest, but the rain looks like it's supposed to be good that way.
It snowed up here today. I'm up in northern Minnesota. It snowed. Terrible. Yeah. So, yeah, good luck to everybody down there. Good luck to all the weekly racers. I hope we get a bunch in because that way we can talk a bunch of weekly racing this weekend. And as always, I'm Ryan. That's Changa. That is Bert. Thanks for tuning in to the One to Go Show.